Hey guys, welcome. Glad you stopped by. I was just getting ready to bake something new, something I've never tried before, like most of the time. Today we're going to do cream cheese cookies. Now, these cookies, according to Preppy Kitchen, which is where I got this recipe from, they're a cake-like cream cheese, a good balance between sweet and savory, and I know when I saw them, they pretty much looked like a Christmas cookie, you know, or like the Mexican wedding cake cookies, or wedding cookies. They get powdered sugar on the top of them. They're a white cookie. They're easy. They're actually something with few ingredients, and it's something that if you're either new to baking or kids are involved, this is a good cookie. It's minimal. It takes very little work. You don't even really need a stand mixer, or you could use a hand mixer. You could probably even use a spoon and a whisk. But I'm going to use my stand mixer today. But they just sound like a good all-around cookie. And I thought, no, why not give them a try? So, I think it's something we're going to enjoy at any rate. And don't forget, like, subscribe, share, as always. And what that does helps us get us out in the algorithm and continues to help grow our community. Practicing principles of being good neighbors through kindness, good communication, and food. Just all the way around. If you're new to my channel, this is your first video. I hope you get something out of this video. I hope you check out some of my others. If you are returning or one of several bazillion new subscribers, thank you. I know I say that every time, but I really thank you. You're taking time out of your day to spend with me, and I think that's awesome. I appreciate that. Yeah, that means that you enjoy the content. Comments, love comments. I try to respond to every single one of them. All I ask is you keep them civil. It's okay to disagree. Just think before you type. And I think that's it. I think we got the gambit covered. I will give you all your measurements in cups, tablespoons, teaspoons, and I'll also give them to you in grams. With that, real quick, a couple weeks ago, or it might have even been last week's video, I had said something about, I thought it was odd that the measurements in grams sometimes didn't always match the measurement of cups. My best example of that would be flour is 120 grams a cup. This recipe, the recipe we're doing next week is an example of how that can differ, but I found out why. So when you measure, we'll just keep using flour as an example. If you take your measuring cup and scoop it right into the flour, because that compacts the flour, that cup actually weighs more than the 120 grams that is standard for grams to cup. Which is why if you start using grams and you go into a recipe, your recipe may vary if they don't give both. But like I said, the recipe that we're going to do next week for the Italian cookies, they didn't match up, and that was because, and she tells you at the bottom, this is how I learned this, that when she scoops her flour, she simply scoops it with her measuring cup and then levels it off, instead of taking a spoon and putting it in her measuring cup to not compact it. But anyhow, I wanted to share that with you because I thought that was kind of cool that I learned something new, and I wanted to pass that knowledge on to you. So let's get down to the counter and let's get started on these cookies. All right, hold on for me 1 second. Okay, we're down here at the counter. So the things we'll need, recipe, which I have. Always write my recipe down in a notebook, and that way I can change it, modify it. It's always in pencil, or I can just rip it out and throw it away if it's just an absolute crap recipe. But either way it goes, you need a recipe. You also need a couple bowls, at least one for wet, one for dry. For my wet, I'm using my stand mixer, like I said just a second ago. You could also use a hand mixer. You could use a spoon for that matter. And then you'll need another bowl with something to sift with. I mean, I guess you don't have to sift, but I'm going to. That's what he did, and so that's what I'm going to do. He's usually spot on. There are some people who sift everything. and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. So the first thing we're going to put in here is going to be our flour, which is 210 grams or 1 3/4 cup of just regular old all-purpose flour. You know, nothing spectacular. Get that in there. And then to this, if I can get it all out of there, which is weird. To our flour, we're going to add a 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda and a 1/2 teaspoon of salt. Now, we use kosher salt. If you don't have kosher salt, you can use regular salt. Kosher salt just, it's a little healthier for you as far as salt goes. It doesn't have the, you know, all the extras that come with processing salt in it, and it's not as strong, it's not as potent, so it doesn't mask the flavor of what you're trying to make. Sometimes, you know, like regular table salt will mask some of the flavors in whatever it is you're baking. But if that's all you have, that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. So we're gonna go ahead and get this sifted. Okay, now that we got it sifted, let's go ahead and just take a whisk real quick and whisk it together, because just because you sifted it doesn't mean it's mixed together. So we're gonna go ahead and get that mixed real quick, fast like ninja, and we'll just set that aside. So now we can work on our wet ingredients. So we'll go ahead and get the mixer over here, and in our mixer we're going to add 4 ounces, 113 grams of cream cheese, and these are both at room temperature. Everything I have is at room temperature. The egg we're going to use, the cream cheese, and the butter. So we got 4 ounces, 113 grams of cream cheese. I've got 1/2 cup, and that's a 1/2 block of cream cheese. I got a 1/2 cup, 1 stick, 114 grams of unsalted butter. Yeah, if salted butter is what you have, run with it. I just wouldn't put the salt in the dry mix that we use, because it could, depending on the butter you use, make your baked good way too salty. And then to that, we are going to add 1 cup, 200 grams of regular plain old granulated sugar. And what we're going to do now is we are simply going to mix this until it is light and fluffy and smooth. Light in color, fluffy like mashed potatoes, and smooth. I mean, it's not going to be completely smooth because we have sugar that's not cooked yet, but I'll show you. Alright, we are in like Flynn. Nice and fluffy. Now, what I mean by light and fluffy, and I know I explain this all the time, but I also know that there are very few people that do videos, cooking videos, baking in particular, that explain what light and fluffy is, and it doesn't take but 2 seconds. But I say light and fluffy is kind of like mashed potatoes. But see how that is, like, now it's like a white in color, it's no longer yellow like butter, and it kind of resembles, in this case, kind of a looser mashed potato, but a mashed potato all the same. That is what you're looking for. So now we're going to scrape our bowl real quick, just to make sure we don't have any chunks of cream cheese in there or anything like that. You know, little bits are okay. That kind of happens. Another trick I've learned is when you put your cream cheese and your butter out to soften, or come to room temperature, depending on what your recipe calls for, put plastic wrap over it. I have found if you don't, you let the air get to it, especially the cream cheese, the outer layer of it becomes hard, and it can cause you to have chips that may not smooth out while you're mixing it, and that could be problematic. But so you want to cover it with saran wrap. So the next thing we're going to add to this is, I've got 1 large egg right here, and we're going to throw that in there, along with 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract, and I use baker's vanilla. Well, that's not the name of it. It's a baking vanilla versus a standard vanilla. Baking vanilla holds its flavor when you bake it. Standard vanilla, depending on who you buy, may not. So we're going to run this till it's well incorporated, which means we don't see the yellow, we won't see the yolk anymore. It will have incorporated into the batter. All right. So we've got our batter that is incorporated. We can no longer see the yellow. See if I pull it up, no yellow. If I were to take this off and show you real quick, see how it's got no yellow in it? That's what you want. That means we have incorporated it. We didn't overbeat it. You don't want to abuse the batter, but you want to make sure that the yolk is in it well. So now what we're going to do is we're going to put this on a low setting, so it'd be like number 1 on your hand mixer, or on your hand mixer, and we're going to take our dry mix and we're just going to put it in real slow. All right, we got our dry mix just incorporated. All right, there's so many terms in baking, which means that we didn't sit here and mix it all day and make sure it was all in there. There might be a few little specks of dry in there, and that's okay, because what we're going to do now, we're going to clean up this paddle attachment real quick and get it out of the way, because we're pretty much done with the mixture. That's how easy this recipe is. That's why it's, like I said, it's kind of kid and friend and new to baking friendly. Yeah. Okay, we got the paddle scraped down. Now we're gonna scrape this bowl down real quick and kind of finish mixing it by hand. I mean, it won't take long by any means. You're just gonna make sure you got everything in, together. There's no butter, cream cheese, or flour sitting at your dry mix sitting at the bottom. We are good there. I'm gonna get that scraped off like such. So now what we're gonna do is we have to put some saran wrap over this, and we're gonna put it in the fridge. So we've got to let this set. This dough this batter is incredibly sticky. I mean, incredibly sticky. And so to help combat the stickiness of it all, so to speak, we're gonna put it in the fridge to let it chill, and that should help with the stickiness. Now, it's according to Preppy Kitchen, but he did also say, I mean, it's still gonna be a little sticky, but I'll show you how to combat that, because we gotta roll this out into dough balls. So we'll take this, as soon as I get it tight on there, like such. And like I said, we're gonna put this in the fridge. We're gonna put it in there for an hour, which is why, I mean, if you notice, a lot of times I forget to tell you to turn on your oven and the temp till about this part, but we don't want our oven on yet, because we have to let this sit in the fridge for an hour. Yeah, or if you live in a colder weather area like today, outside it's only like 35, 36 degrees. You stick it outside. That way you don't have to make room in the fridge. But anyhow, when I come back, we will have this out of the fridge, and we'll start balling up some dough. All right, I'll see you here in a second. Okay, so our dough has chilled, or our batter is chilled for an hour. No, our cookie dough. And so what I'm using, you want to make it about 2 tablespoon size dough balls, and or a cookie scoop. I am going to make these at I'm gonna use my scale, and I'm gonna go 30 grams per ball. Now I'm gonna take them, I'm gonna scoop it out just like such, put it on there, and make sure we are at 30, like such. Excellent. And then you're just going to take it and roll it up. Now this dough is going to be a little sticky, so if that's the case, see how it's starting to get on the hands, just take a little bit of water, place it on your hands. What that does, it'll keep your cookie dough from sticking to your hands. And if your hands get a little wonky, that's okay. Just make sure you wash them off every once in a while. Or if you have gloves, you can wear gloves. That's not a bad thing either. And then that way, after you get done rolling it into a ball, but see, it doesn't stick to my hands now, and we're in good shape. We're just gonna place it on the pan. and we're gonna spread these out about 2 inches apart all the way, you know, on the pan. Now, memory serves me, because I don't have the original recipe in front of me. I'm pretty sure it said it made 24, but we'll see. All right, well, I'm gonna go ahead and get these scooped out and put into balls, and then when I get back, we will talk about how long to bake them for. All right, so we got all our dough balls made, and I got 24 of them, which was most awesome. Yep, 24 on the nose, all on one sheet. And you can't see it all from there, but there they are. So now all I'm gonna do, and I knew I was gonna do it, I forgot to tell you, as soon as we started, right before we start making these dough balls for our cookies, turn your oven on, 375 degrees. That way it's nice and warmed up while we're making these cookies and putting them on the pan. So now we've got our oven warmed up to 375. I've got the dough balls in. I'm going to stick them in the oven, and I'm going to bake them for 10 to 12 minutes. They're not going to spread a whole lot, but you still want to make sure they're about 2 inches apart, like any other cookie. And we're going to look for it to starting to go a light golden brown around the edges. So once I see that, I'll know. You know, but it's going to be right around 10 to 12 minutes. Start looking at no more than 12 minutes, because they'll continue to cook once we get them out, or bake. But 10 to 12 minutes, I'll pull it out of the oven, and we'll talk about what to do next. All right, hold on for me just 1 second. Okay, so I went 12 minutes on my cookies. I pulled them out of the oven. I sat them on the rack on the pan. And now I'm just going to let them cool for a couple minutes, and then I'll take them off of this pan, put them on the rack underneath that I've got it sitting on, and let them cool down to pretty much room temperature. Then all we have left to do is put some powdered sugar on them and try one. So give me just 1 second, and we'll throw some powdered sugar on it and try one. All right, see you here in a second. All right, so we've let them, cool, and now I want to show you, I don't know how well you're going to be able to see it, but they're a nice light golden brown. They're still soft on the top, but on the edges, and they've got a light tan golden look on the bottom. You don't want them to bake too long or they'll dry out. You know, but they're, like I said, I don't know how well you're going to be able to see it on camera, but they're a nice light even golden brown along the edges here, and that's kind of what you're looking for. But I'm going to say 10 to 12 minutes. Yeah, because you don't want them to be, if they still have a little bit of shine to them, you know, you don't want to take them out yet, basically. So now that they're cooled, we'll take our powdered sugar and just put a light sprinkling of it on there. Now you could also just as easily take some chocolate ganache, or, you know, a syrup that you like, or a jam, or something of that nature, and drizzle it on here. You could do icing, like a glaze with sprinkles, you know, or I even dare say, if I'd have thought about it while they were warm, I could have thumbprinted them and put you know, some jam in them, for that matter. But I mean, there really is a very versatile cookie to decorate, I would think, because when they first come out and they're still warm, when they first come out of the oven, they are very much so soft. So you could almost thumbprint them and put your favorite thing in them, or, you know, shove your favorite candy on the top, because it's essentially like a cheesecake, you know, in cookie form. And then that way you can take a Reese's cup, ooh, that'd be good, and push it in a little bit, and that would be awesome. But there we are. That is our standard finished product. Like I said, I think this would be a great Christmas cookie. I mean, to me it just says Christmas cookie, but it'd also be, I'm sure, a great anytime cookie. But now all we have left to do is try one of these bad boys, which I think is going to be wonderful. That is so soft and tender. It's almost like a cake. But he was right. It's not overly savory like for the cream cheese, but it's not sweet either. It's like this perfect balance. And man, I don't know how well you can see that. Look at my camera here. But yeah, see how cake like that is? It is, that's good. That is definitely I can't eat just one cookie. And the thought of some drizzled chocolate on that, or even a chocolate and a caramel, basically any topping you can think of for a cheesecake would go great on this. You have to give these a try, hands down. If you do, and if and when you do, which I highly recommend you do, let me know down in the comments what you think. That is a great cookie. A great cookie. And as I said, I did mine for 12 minutes. But anyhow, give these a try. Leave me a comment down below if you do, or if you have a way you make yours, that would be awesome. Next week, I have no idea what we're gonna do for dinner. I have no idea what we're gonna do for dessert. I very rarely do. Things usually come to me throughout the week. But if you ever have any ideas, something you'd like to see me cook or bake, let me know down in the comments. That would be awesome. Or find us on Facebook at Mr. Smith's Kitchen. You could do leave us a comment there or share pictures of stuff you've baked. That's always fun. Either way, let me know. But until next week when we have dinner and dessert, I love you. I love you very much. I mean that from the bottom of my heart. Tell somebody else that you love them and love them very much. They may need to hear it. It's probably gonna make their whole day better. Definitely make them smile. It's gonna make you feel good inside to tell them and know that you made their day a little better. Try some of these cookies. If you make some and share them with that person, they're gonna be like, holy cow, this is the most amazing cookie ever, and it's gonna lead to probably a good cup of coffee or a glass of milk, depending on who it is, and great conversation. So until next week, I love you. I'll see you then. Talk to you later. Bye.